Hey everybody, welcome to RoadMap 2025. Woohoo! I am so glad you're here. And boy, we got people from all over the place, from,
Too.
from all over the US, Germany. I didn't get a chance to check all over. Well, thank you kindly for your interest, spending this next 90 minutes with me. I assure you it'll be well worth it. Whether you are a Silva Method graduate already, you've been through the training live, or maybe you've just read the book, or you've done some of the home studies, or maybe you're brand new, you haven't done any of that. There'll be plenty of takeaways here tonight. So, welcome all. The title that I've advertised is Roadmap to Creating a Better World. I really lean toward that and by default think of that because to me, 54 years later, what really drives me to do this, I've come to realize that in our community, when each of us is taking care of ourselves, staying balanced, staying centered through our Silva meditations, etc., we're a little bit kinder, a little more patient with each other. We're a little bit more considerate, more respectful. Wouldn't you agree? And man, the world really needs that, doesn't it? And it's such a joy for me to be with you in any capacity, although I do prefer in person. So I very much appreciate you taking your very valuable time to be here. And for those of you who may be watching the replay, and even if you hear it live with me, wow, fantastic. Either way, welcome aboard. So I want to recommend to you is I'm with the Zoom. I'm not sure how you see. I made some changes in the settings. I highly recommend because there's a lot to cover and I want you to get the absolute most out of this. So please do your best to be fully present. Turn off your other devices, no emailing, no texting, no watching TV, conversation, and put yourself, hopefully now, on speaker mode, which means you'll only see me. Some really cool people here. You can see them on the sidebar if you want. However, I've noticed it's a distraction because people pay more attention to that. And I know a lot of the seminars, master classes, summits you go to, they allow you to interact with the chat and so on. And I'm a little different because I've noticed that in terms of learning, the more focused you are, multitasking really does not work. So it's really essential that we pay full attention, no matter what you're doing, not just here. It's not just that I'm a hog for attention. So that's up to you, my friends. So what I'd like to call this, and I really, by default, I went to this, but what I'd like to call this a roadmap to navigate the chaos. And holy moly, I don't think, I think we all agree, and I don't need to belabor it. There's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of uncertainty. I know life can be like that. It's the way life can be. However, it seems to really kind of upend it. We've been living in a time where there's a lot of vitriol, it's hard sometimes even good friends to have an adult conversation because they have different viewpoints. So there's a lot of life events happening. Most of them are not within your control or mine. Most of us are regular citizens, and not just in the United States, all over, globally speaking. So what really our mission is, and what a theme that I always thread through my classes, presentations is, we want to navigate these life events with more grace, more ease, in flow, so that the stuff out there, in life that happens, stuff doesn't become ours, so that we're not internalizing it. Because if you're feeling yourself more anxious than usual, having more sleepless nights, disruptive sleep patterns, more worried than usual, welcome to the club. You're not alone. This is something, we are in this together. We're all experiencing, in some, shall I say, being hurt by it more than others, with that. So the one thing you and I always have, ultimately, and what we can always control is our viewpoint, whether we react or we respond. And I don't mean to minimize that because it's hard at times not to react. I'm with you, baby, I'm with you. But you do, with the right training, with the right tools, and as long as you use them, you can respond in a way that you're not internalizing the stuff. And you're not letting it get to you in such a way that you're debilitated, that you feel like just sleeping, or you get depressed, or you're jumping at people, impatient with your kids and the people who love you. Sometimes we take it out on them. Am I making sense? Just not. I'm not looking at everybody, but let's let this be as interactive as possible. My psychic ability is watching. But all kidding aside, I'm sure you can see that. So the perspective in psychology is called the point of power. The way we look at things, the perspective that we have ultimately influences our attitude, our thoughts, our feelings, our inner dialogue, which cause the brain to release neurochemicals, neuropeptides, which influence our whole physiology. And it influences how we feel, it influences how we sleep, it influences our mood, and it influences our performance big time, big time. We're more likely to make a mistake when we're upset, agreed? We're more likely for things to slip our mind when we're stressed out and we're letting, the junk get to us. So that's our mission. So tonight, and for those of you who are new, my name is Ken Coscia. I'm the Silva Instructor, your guide tonight. I always pause because I started when I was 19. I was the youngest instructor on the planet. Now I'm the oldest, still not in age. There's still some people out there older than me. I'm only 74 this year. But anyway, 54 years. It's been such a joy. It's been such an incredible ride. I thank God every day that I have these tools. It is an awesome work of art that Mr. Jose Silva put together. I serve as the lead instructor. I mentor instructors. Just about everybody globally has been through an instructor training with me for a little better than 35 years. I've been involved directly. Used to do it in Texas at the home office for 2 weeks. Now I do it more virtually, when we train and develop new instructors, etc. And nowadays I'm focusing mostly in Canada and, of course, the United States for that. I'm also the guy Jose selected in '84. Such an honor. I mean, a lot of really fun things. Selected me to be one out of 1,000 instructors to travel the world and do advanced presentations, work with instructors. So I tell you that because you're in good hands. And you and I are in this together. I don't sit before you tonight as the know-it-all, far from it, or perfect. Just contact my wife, Barbara, and she'll let you know just how imperfect I can be at times. But the big difference between us is I am masterful when it comes to the Silva Method. This is all I've done my whole adult life. I have devoted all my time, my energy, my efforts. I'm constantly investing and upgrading my act so that I can serve you better. And by the way, when I serve you better, I'm kind of serving myself too. So 2 things I especially want to do for you tonight. One is there are 4 skills I've identified that you want to bring to the game in any time of what's going on in the world, and especially now. These skills are game changers, and when you implement these skills, it will make a noticeable, almost immediate difference. Second thing I want to do, yes, I want to preview for you the benefits. What can you expect? There are many of you on this call who are maybe on the fence. You've taken a home study. You've watched some videos. You've read some of the books. See, I have them strategically placed behind me. Some of the books. And I'll tell you, talk to any instructor, talk to any graduate who's done that. It's a night and day difference between doing it live in person with a certified instructor and that. The home studies, the books can't even touch the depth of the material that we cover in the training and what we do for your benefit, because it's not about becoming consumers of knowledge and, I know all this. Yeah, I know a lot too, and some of you know a whole lot more than me. The real power, I've been preaching this since 1984 when I joined the staff, and now I hear more and more of the big names saying the same thing, finally. It's not about the knowledge. It's what you do with the knowledge. It's how you implement the knowledge you have, how you integrate it into your life. And that is where I am a master. Talk to people. That's my reputation with the Silva Method and applying these tools. So we'll look at some of those benefits and some key distinctions that are important. So please stay to the end. It's worth it. If time allows, we'll even have some Q&A. So you ready to rock and roll? Let's take a look. First, let me give you a quick overview of the 4 skills. Number 1, you want to be able to have the skill, and use it, of course, to manage your energy so that you are responding to life, maintaining control of your thoughts and feelings in spite of it all. Second, you want to know what you want in life. You want to be clear about your goals. And you want to also make sure it's necessary that your goals are in alignment with your values. What's really important to you? Because if they're not, that will create cognitive dissonance, and you feel like one part of you wants to go this way, another part of you wants to go that way. I got to watch that because I'm going to get dizzy if I do it too much. You get the idea. Third goal. A lot of people talk about changing limiting beliefs. Yeah, I understand, but I find it's more about having the confidence in ourselves that somehow, some way, we can figure it out. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody has a crystal ball. I'm sorry. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is 100%. Anybody who tells you that, run, because that's just marketing mumbo jumbo or what have you. But there are predictable patterns, and there are things we can do, resources we can develop that we build out all throughout it's 40 hours of training, 4 days, not 2 days, not 3 days, 4 full days with that, so that you have the self-confidence. And when you have that, you're more likely to take action. Think about it. Haven't you found? If you're doubting yourself and not sure you can do something, we procrastinate or we avoid it. I've done it too, especially when it comes to new technology. Fourth skill, it's necessary. Well, think of it this way. I know you know this, so let this serve as a meaningful, just absorb this, put this deep into your heart and your being. If we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to keep getting the same results. In fact, that's the definition of insanity. When somebody keeps doing the same thing over and over, thinking somehow, some way, this time it'll be different. Some people have called that insanity. So it's obvious, isn't it? If you want to scale up your business, even in this climate, it's possible. It's in fact, in this climate, it might be more possible because people are seeking more help. If you're concerned about a relationship, a romantic, or you want a romantic relationship, or you're with your honey, or your children, and you want to improve communications, there are things that you can do. It first begins with us, right? Individually, there are things we can do to manage that. Or maybe you're an innovator, you're an entrepreneur. This week I noticed, oh my God, for the past week, there's been so many summits on conscious innovators and conscious entrepreneurs, intelligent entrepreneurs, AI entrepreneur. It's every different angle with that. And I can tell you can have all that knowledge, all that skill set, but unless we are in charge of our perspective, of our being, that's the game. And that's what I can most help you with that. Or maybe you want to take off a little bit of weight, or you want to get rid of some habits, or you want to sleep better, or your health. All impossible. So what? Fourth skill, you got to have some skills. You got to use more of your mind and use it in a special manner. You've got to, which is what the Silva Method is all about. It's packed with very practical skills that you can take to the bank. And we cover a lot more live and in person, with that. So let's continue. Please allow a deep breath. If you haven't guessed, those of you who know me, I love doing this work. And I just want to say, wow, even though I feel more concerned and worried than usual, even though I mentioned my newsletter this week, I hope it was appropriate, I too have been, my sleep patterns have been interrupted. I'm getting back to, thank God I have the skills, but I've noticed changes in just what's going on. It's hard not to because there's a heaviness in the air. But I know who I am. I know what I want. I was born to do this work. I'm very conscious about my goals and what to do. So what I find is necessary is self-care. Got to be very careful to make sure I take care of myself, and the same is true for you, so that I stay on top of things and not succumb to it. So number one, we're going to go high tech. You ready? Let me just get a sip of water, please. I got an updated version. Those of you who've seen before, these are two of my grandkids. One's missing. Hint, I do it, yes, I'm a goofy grandfather showing off my grandkids, but you know why I also do it? You can model this. Keep people in your life who put a smile on your face. Surround yourself by people who have your back. Surround yourself by people who believe in you. Surround yourself as much as you possibly can with people who you can trust. They're not going to gossip negatively about you behind your back. So no matter what I'm feeling, going through, I look at them, I'm doing a presentation, and I can't help but smile and think of it's just joyful. Some of them are just here with us this past Sunday. So it's a definite important takeaway, because we become just like the people we spend most of our time with, which I don't mind admitting, that's why I'm so involved in the Silva Method. I rarely go to networking meetings. I'm not that active. I'm active in the community only with close friends that we choose to be with. I'm mostly with on the phone, Zoom calls, Silva classes. Just came back from Australia. I'm going to Atlanta the end of April with Amy Schneider to do a mastery event. And maybe I'm cheating. I don't know. But I choose to be that way because it just keeps the joy. And you could do the same thing. The things you can do. So we'll look at that. So first skill. I'm going to go high tech. Are you ready for this? I know how to do the whiteboard. I know how to put slides up there. But I've noticed myself, I went through so many presentations. I spent a couple of full days. I was like this because they kept using the slides and doing that. And it was like boom, boom, boom. It was too much. So I just find that a little more engaging. Number one, first skill, manage your energy. Very important. Agreed? So what does that mean, and what would that look like? And how do you know, excuse me, that you're managing your energy? So first question, tell the truth to yourself. I'm focusing on the presentation. I'm not looking, purposely I had turned off the videos because I'm still playing with Zoom, looking at some of the different features. If you are stressed, worried, upset, preoccupied, something's bothering you, have you noticed? Please acknowledge it. I know you have. Acknowledge it. You're more likely to what? Make a mistake. You're more likely to have an accident. Agreed? You're more likely to react to somebody and say something you wish you hadn't said. Yes? Hey, I don't want to be the only one. Of course, we've all been through that. Absolutely. In fact, a lot of research is coming out suggesting they're catching up. Jose Silva was really way ahead of his time. 1966, this course went public, way ahead. And I agree, number one reason why people are not getting what they want is because they're living in stress mode. The number one reason why business owners, salespeople are not scaling up their business, not meeting their goals, is they're in scarcity mode, survival mode, stress mode, same thing. What does that mean? That means the back part of the brain, the oldest part of the brain, the most mature part of the brain, that's all about one thing, survival, actually two, and, security. And if we're living in stress mode, the brain takes over, and blood and oxygen levels are, because the blood vessels get constricted, less to the brain, and we have difficulty thinking. Have you noticed? We have difficulty accessing our higher thinking functions, and we're literally blocking intuition. You handle this. We spend 4 full days, better than 50% of our time in guided meditations, developing tools so that when you leave the 4 days, you got it. It's not perfect, and it's going to take practice. 15 minutes a day, that's the ideal. I'm not going to tell you, you don't have to do anything. No, you do. It's not enough to take the class. implement it. You want to, you'll feel better, you'll sleep better, you'll have more energy, more vitality. You won't be, and then you can take, we call them alpha breaks in the middle of the day. So it's important to keep the body in homeostasis, balance. And when we are, our immune system works better. And we're more likely to respond to the challenges and the difficulties rather than overly react. Agree? Can you see that? I mean, in some ways I'm preaching to the choir, but come on, guys. I hear this too often from fellow graduates. You know, they love it, they did this, they did that, but they've temporarily slipped their mind, which is why I do graduate programs and a lot of support to help you, stay on top of it. You hear what I'm saying? So managing your energy is so, I just want to get rid of some of these, these papers all over the place, with this. Other thing, in managing your energy, let me give you an example. I took it out. I'd like to give you that, what's possible. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a physician. I'm not prescribing. However, I've worked with hundreds of thousands of students. And I've heard this more times than I can remember. I've witnessed it. And in our early days, admittedly, the 60s, especially the 70s and 80s, were the heyday for the Silva organization, when there was very little else out there, just us, and everybody was investigating, writing articles, Life magazine, New York Times, Boston Globe, LA Times, you name it, about 500 articles, all over the globe. That's just the United States. So it was a time when there was a lot of attention, which was great, for us throughout that. And I'd like to go, obviously, back to that. But here's something, a Silva grad. She first started with the home study and then did the live. She gave me permission, but I'd like to share this because this is proof of what's possible. It's a bit dramatic, admittedly, because the most common thing I hear from people when they finish the training with me, Ken, I'm pretty healthy. I don't get sick too often, but I have to say, now if I get a cold, I recover more quickly. And I notice I'm not getting the seasonal cold like I did before. If I get a virus or even COVID, I'm recovering much quicker than family members or people around me who don't have the same tools. It's not rocket science. It's when you keep your body in homeostasis and balance, your immune system does what it does. I'm not the healer. You're the healer. Your body heals itself. Your body has incredible wisdom. You have everything you need. Make no mistake about it. Nobody can give you anything. You have all the tools. You have within you a giant, a genius. What Mr. Silva did was he perfected a system step by step of how to bring that out, how to activate. So her name is Savannah. Excuse me. My name is Savannah, and I'm an artist and a therapeutic educator, and I'm writing today as a testament to my growth and success with the Silva Method. Excuse me. I am unsure where to begin exactly, as Silva has helped me in ways so great that a brief synopsis really doesn't do justice to the magnitude of growth that I've experienced. I suppose I should begin where it all started. February 2011, I suffered an episode of grand mal seizures so severe that I had to be placed on life support and put into a medically induced coma. Upon regaining consciousness, I was told by the neurologist who had saved my life that in order to regain any type of normalcy in regards to my health and functioning on a daily basis, that I would have to be placed on a strict regimen of upwards of 15 pills per day. I complied for about 3 months, but never found the normalcy I had been promised. I was physically ill, bedridden due to side effects, and I felt like an emotional shell of who I once was. Can you relate? Some of you maybe taking a lot of medications. When I had all but given up hope, a colleague of mine introduced me to Silva. He walked me through the home study of Silva Life System. Just the home study, by the way. It's well done. This is the original one that Laura Silva Quesada and I put together. The one that's available now has been redone by Mindvalley. And despite fervent warnings from my neurologist, I decided it was time to put an end to the numbness my medication had induced. I would never ask anyone to do that, ever. With his support, I quit my medication for meditation and have been seizure-free for over a decade, and I'm finally able to truly live and thrive as we all should be. After attaining The miraculous growth I did through the home study. I knew, and by the way, and she was doing the long relax. That is a Silva. We call it the long relax, big relax. It's a fraction of relaxation, similar to what they do in yoga, but very different and more effective in many ways. And that's one I gift you when you study with me. And I think some other instructors probably do the same thing. It's a bonus for free, and a video explaining it and other cool things, so that when you leave the training, you have that to practice. It's a beautiful exercise. Very important. After attaining the miraculous growth, so I knew that attending the life system and intuition training in person was a must. I have attended the Silva 4-day immersion experience of life and intuition system in Boston. I haven't been teaching there in a few years. I'm very blessed. People travel from all over the U.S., even other countries, to Farmington, Connecticut, or Chicago area, where I'm regularly there. It just got to be a bit much. In Boston with Ken Coscia, on numerous occasions over the past 10 years. And each time I return to my daily life more inspired and grounded in the truth that we hold so much more power over the outcomes of our life and wellness, and are far more intuitively connected to one another than we are led to believe. I have to say this. Thank you, Savannah. Knowing Ken is a gift, and knowing the Silva Method has gifted my life back to me, I am forever grateful. She works in school. I know her personally. We've spent time together. She is a very, very cool human being for that. And what she didn't say in here is that she did the long relax. It's a 28 to 30 minutes exercise every day, and you get it gifted. When I went through the class, my mother when I was interested and told my family, my mom made the sign of the cross and started praying for me, took out her rosary beads. 6 months later, I went to school, Boston University. I was flunking out because I was worrying. I was stressed. This is my life. And using these tools, I graduated cum laude, and it was the first 19 full-time Silva instructor. I was a full-time student taking extra credits to make up what I had flunked. My mother saw all these changes. I guess she was impressed. She took the class, and God bless her. She wouldn't listen to Jose Silva on tape, but she asked me to make one, so I made one for her, the long relax. Back then, cassettes, remember those days? Every day she did it, she stopped having asthma attacks, and she was a frequent sufferer of asthma. No more asthma, no more medication for it, and her arthritis debilitated her. As a young boy up to the age of 10, the only memories I have of her is her in bed sick or in the hospital. After Silva and doing the long relax every day, done. So my friends, I'm saying this to you because, yes, hey, the Silva Method may not be for you, but it has been for millions of people, over 10 million people all over the globe with this, because of things like this. Just this one benefit of learning this. And in the class, we help you over 4 days to integrate it, to answer your questions, to make sure you know what to do, how to do it. You've read the book, Home Study. Who do you ask questions of? And best time to ask questions is while you're in the moment. It's called deliberate practice. It's the most effective way for high performance and peak performance. So that's just skill number 1. I made some notes to myself because there's so much I wanted to cover with you, here today. I want to be mindful of the time, with this. So what are some of the causes? And I want to give you some takeaways for managing your energy. Excessive worry, overly critical in your thinking, complaining. I'm smiling because one of my pet peeves is litter bugs. Even my grandchildren, when we go for walks together or hike and they see litter, they say, boy, they make a comment. And what I started doing was I found I was getting upset. So instead, at times I bring a plastic bag with me and I pick up the trash and throw it away in the garbage pail when I get to it. And I find it's liberating. Instead of storing up that energy, complaining just creates more stress. Worrying just creates more stress. I'm not saying not to be concerned. We should all be concerned about some of the stuff and the falsehoods and stuff that's going on. But worrying would do nothing. Investigate. Do your due diligence. Join a support group. Help. Become an activist. Whatever works for you with this. We got to manage also our inner dialogue. When you're facing a challenge, what do you say to yourself? Oh crap, here we go again. I'm screwed. People talk like that. Worst thing, because you're just adding more stress into your system. So a quick little takeaway for you. It's no big secret. I'll give you two examples. 2014, between 13 and 14, I sustained an injury. I used to be a very serious long distance runner, and the injuries and just the whole long story, there were things that all contributed. I needed back surgery. It was horrible going through that leading up to it. It was so painful, uncomfortable. And I admit, I lost it. The chiropractor I was working with was a friend. He was calling me up at night, every night, to see how I was, because he was so concerned. Because I was like almost depressed, like, I'm screwed. There goes my career. I'm not going to be able to fly anymore. I'm not going to be able to. I didn't handle it very good. I did get better, and I did, overcome it. But man, it took a while. Recently, excuse me, people keep coming in late. I gotta let them in. Recently, I slipped on the ice in mid-February. Went to Chicago to do a class. I thought it was okay. I didn't feel anything. I continued my walk. I landed flat on my back. But it aggravated the vulnerabilities in the lower back, the L4, L5 area. Oh my God, by day number 3, I had to sit. You should have seen me in the airport walking. It took me an hour to walk. It was long distance, to the gate. I mean, it was horrible. I had to stop. I was in such, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. Just give you an example. But I will tell you, all through that, I kept saying to myself, you got this, Kenny. You got this. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Somehow, some way, we're going to figure out. I even made a few promises to God, like I need a miracle. Nothing I was taking. Came home. Then we left 2 days later for Australia. And my friend's there because I was going to do a mastery. And luckily, I had time off a week. And things I was taking, meds, Tylenol, PM. I took prednisone, which turned out it was expired. Nothing was working. But I will tell you, and I got a cane. All throughout that, I managed my dialogue. And when I started worrying, I said, it's a pattern interrupter, called pattern interrupter, called cancel, cancel. Cancel, cancel. It sounds stupid, ridiculous if you've never heard it before, but that's why it works. I didn't say it out. I did it in my head. You got this. This too shall pass. And I did my mastery. You'd never know what I was going through. Doing this. I stood. I did it. I had fun. It took me, it was a short walk to that. I came home and slowly but surely, I'm in PT twice a week. I'm back in the saddle, but just to strengthen core and muscles. And I have nerve damage as part of what the challenge was. But it can make a huge difference. It did. I'm convinced it lessened the pain. And then the meditation, I did the long relax, a lot of slow, deep breathing, and that helped to reduce it. It was still there. And when you're in pain like that, it's hard to even meditate, isn't it, for that? Again, it's proof of what's possible. You got to manage that. So some of the things, also, you got to manage your personal environment. So here's I didn't write it down for you, excuse me. It's real simple. When you experience, in life, it happens, what happens? Stuff. There's another word, you know what the word is. It's something I learned from a dear friend of mine and coach. We coach each other. His name is John Felito. It's a framework that I teach off of my students. OR, O-A-R, OR. So if you want to roar, before you roar, you got to OR, get yourself there. So the O stands for observe what's going on, like a reporter. No judgment. Do your best. No judgment. No, oh my God, this is horrible. Oh, she said tell. Oh my God, I can't believe that. No, none of that. Just observe the facts. Remember Dragnet? Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. Just observe as best you can. It's not a piece of cake doing that. So practice with it. A is then make an assessment. Okay, what does this mean to me? How is this affecting my life? How is it affecting the life of anyone I'm concerned about? So you know the circumstances. Because some things that are happening right now are not affecting you. It depends where you're at in your life. Some of the things going on now are not affecting my life, my lifestyle, for different reasons. I'm not a young guy starting out. We've got our life set up. Our lifestyle. And the R stands for respond. And then you respond appropriately. You take action. And you can even, I wrote down a note for you. I've been thinking about this and preparing for you. You can ask yourself, here it is, how can I think, feel, and behave differently? How can I think, feel, take a screenshot if you want, and behave differently? That's part of the response. So you're not reacting, you're that knee-jerk reaction. You'll learn in the Silva class, we'll teach you the 3 fingers technique, which everybody talks about, but there's no magic to it. You've got to develop it. You've got to lock it in. It's a training. It doesn't happen because, oh, put your 3 fingers. No, it's something we do in the class. We spend 40 hours of training, building out these tools and going deep into it so that you can do it on your own and work with it and practice it. So I would like to do a short, quick little exercise. I'm going to do 4 short little guided minutes just to give you a taste. But also, the ideal is 13 to 15 minutes. Research shows, current research, that's how long it takes the body to get into homeostasis. We're going to do much less. So some of you know the 3-to-1 method. You've developed it. Great. Many of us do not. So 3 slow, deep breaths. Everybody, you can inhale through your nose. Very slowly, then hold it briefly. You don't have to count. And then exhale out your nose or out your mouth, but exaggerate the exhalation. I mean, really let it out. Here's a little fun tip. Imagine like you're breathing in peace and then releasing the tensions. And then when you do that, I'm going to ask you to feel some gratitude for anyone, anything in your life who you're happy is in your life. And then I'm going to ask you to think of a place where you've been. Call it your happy place. In Silva, we call it the ideal place of relaxation. Some place where you've been, physically actually been there, that when you're there, you feel calm, you feel at home, you feel some joy, or you're at ease. For me, that's either walking by the river, I'm surrounded by rivers here, the river, or the ocean. It could be the mountains, whatever. It could be in the bath. It could be in a jacuzzi. And I'll just remain quiet for a few moments while you think of that as if you're there. So involve your senses. And then, simple thing, I'll ask you to remind yourself your intention being here, that you're going to continue to have superior concentration and superior understanding. Okay, good. I'm not going to put a sound or anything else like that on for that. So please, fasten your seatbelts. If you happen to be in a car, I hope you're not, then please do not do this. So you got to be comfortable, safe. Uncross your arms, uncross your legs, feet flat on the floor to allow a better posture, to allow the blood to flow. Allow your eyelids to close. And now with your eyelids closed, allow a very slow, deep breath and imagine you're breathing in peace. Hold it briefly. Now exhale out your mouth, releasing any tension. It's okay to make noise. Now allow another very slow, deep belly breath, breathing in peace. Take your time. Sip a little more. Get as much in as you can. Hold it. Exhaling out your mouth. Releasing the tensions. Now allow one more slow, deep breath. Excellent. Hold it briefly. Exhaling out your mouth. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. It is a wonderful, healthy state of mind and body. How good it feels. Now you may allow yourself a moment to just briefly think of someone in your life you're so happy is in your life. Doesn't matter. Or an opportunity in your life that you so enjoy. And just allow yourself to feel it. Genuine feelings of gratitude. Exaggerate the feeling as best you can. I'll remain quiet, just briefly. how good it feels. Now, to enhance this feeling of relaxation, you can think of your ideal place of relaxation, your happy place, a place where you've actually been before that you enjoy, that you feel at peace with, that you like, that calms you down, that you feel at home. You may do that now. Imagine as if you're actually there and involve your senses. What do you see as a result, as if you're there? What do you hear? And how does this make you feel? Excellent, excellent. Now, just in your mind, be clear about your intention for being here. What do you want to be able to do better? What do you want to be able to change or improve? Or maybe you want to make a more intelligent decision whether the Silva Method is for you. And know that when you open your eyelids, you're going to be awake, alert, feeling much, 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 much better than before. Now you may open your eyelids when you're ready. And welcome back, my friends. Let me just take a quick peek. Some of you are still on video. Good job. Excuse me. I have something stuck in my throat. It's that time of the year. Welcome back. Hey, Jim Bumby's in the house. Silva Instructor, a newbie in Wisconsin. And Matt Carey and a lovely young woman sitting next to him. How did you luck out, Matt, with this woman in your life? Jeez. Woohoo.
Just a lucky guy.
Both of he's an instructor also in Florida. I don't know if anybody else is on the call. Instructors, if you are, I'm not going to be able to go through. Oh, Cynthia from Italy. Holy moly, I haven't seen you in a while. Anyway, I couldn't resist. Wanted to say hello. I miss you guys. There's nothing like being in person with that. So did you notice, especially if you're new to this, did you get at least a little bit calmer? Felt a little bit more at ease? Yes or no? Come on, nod. I see Michael. Yes or no? Tell me the truth. If not, you'll have to stay late. All right, Mimi, see that? And Eric, some of you are still on there. Good job. And Kirsty. And I have glasses on too. Oh, wow. Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate that. So please, let's go to skill number 2. I want to honor the time here with you because, I want to do a few more things. Skill set number 2, we said, is what? Remember? Clarity of your goals. What is it that you really want? Right? And they've got to be in alignment with your values. So one of the, a lot of studies going on at a place like Harvard and other universities. And one of the, I don't remember the university, it possibly was Harvard. I really don't recall, but I know it's a great time to be alive. There's so much research going on that's helping us to document and verify what, when I first started out, people were like this. I mean, it was really an interesting period of time to be in because we didn't have, a lot of the research with that. But having a lack of future identity, meaning not knowing what you want, not knowing how you want the next week, next month, next year, next 5 years, next 10 years to be like. And when there's a lot of uncertainty as there is on the planet right now, admittedly, that can be challenging, can it not? So our goals can be very fickle. They change like the weather. Agreed? Have you noticed? Thank you, Matt. Thank you. But our values have to do with our authentic self, what we feel in our heart. So, obviously, I don't have a whole lot of time with you. I usually have 40 hours. I'm doing my best to make this as meaningful as possible. Just be prepared. Should you decide to come back and review, hint, hint, you'll get more out of it as a graduate reviewing. Absolutely, most definitely. And if you've never done it live with an instructor, in person, ideally, you have a lot to look forward to. I hear this all the time. And the point to build it is who in your life is most important. If they were no longer available to you, you'd be bothered. Or if there was a distance. Some of my family, now they used to be in California, now they're in Massachusetts, but I'm not able to just zip over there to have a coffee or say hello to the kids, hug them, and, go back home. It's 5 hours almost, depending on traffic, round trip of driving. Opportunities in your life. If it was no longer available to you to do it, you'd really miss it. So if you pay attention to more your values, who or what's important to you, what do you stand for? That helps us to shape our goals, what we want, and helps us to move in that direction. It's also important that we're defined by a vision of our future rather than by memories of the past. So one of the short exercises I wanted to do is a what do I want reflection. So what I just did with you before, please do that, but maybe do it for 13, 15 minutes. Even if you do it for 5 minutes during the day, you got a busy day, guaranteed, you know how to contact me, you'll get more done in less time. You'll have more energy, and you won't be like this. And I love cappuccinos and lattes, and I mix them, but it works a lot better than caffeine. Caffeine is a quick fix, up and down, and you crash. You take that, please. Not just be here with me now, but take home that little simple thing. 3 slow, deep breaths, feel some gratitude, think of your happy place, and what are you going to do next? What's your goal? What's your intention for your next task? People spend thousands of dollars to hear someone teach them that in what they call high-performance coaching. No names mentioned. And they call it transition meditations. We've been teaching that in Silva. It's part of our curriculum called Alpha Breaks, because we're the original Alpha Theta training. How to get into this super learning state. It is truly like young children. They learn so fast. And what Mr. Silva discovered, that when we can shift our brain waves from our normal waking state and stay awake, stay conscious in Alpha Theta state, it's like turning on your supercomputer. And that's the key. When you read a personal development book, when you read any kind of self-improvement, you want to make it a part of your meditation practice, because that's the difference that will make the difference to integrate it. We've all been to those events. People love them. They're high as a kite. And then Monday, they're back to the same old, unless they have a practice to implement. And that's what Silva's about. We may not be so, fancy, but what we do works. In fact, also in our classes, you're not a face in the crowd. Instead of just having one guy like myself, since I'm the lead instructor, we have instructors all over the globe. So you're always in a group of anywhere from 20 to 40, maybe a few more. So you're not lost in the crowd. And the instructor pays undivided attention to you to make sure you're getting it, and will interact with you and answer your questions immediately so that you're guided. That's so important. Whether you do Silva or not, watch out for that. These big events, you're a face in the crowd. You don't even get a chance to answer a question. Oh yeah, you talk to people next to you, but they're new too. They don't have the experience for that. And you deserve it. And people are spending thousands and thousands of dollars for these events. They're great, don't get me wrong. I go to them too. And I go really to see what's going on. And every time I go, I say, man, I think we're the best game in town. Mr. Silva's a work of art with this. So this clarity of your goals, what you want, and your purpose. Another part, all throughout the class, there's a technique, new one, an intuition system called connection to purpose. So we're going to work on that. I can't promise you're going to go through and walk out. I know my purpose in my life. Some do, but you'll be close. You'll have steps. You'll have a path. You'll have a roadmap for yourself. You'll have some knowledge, where to go with that. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's how I've sustained 54 years. I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to work. Everyone's wondering, when am I going to retire? I don't believe in the word retirement. I love what I'm doing. I want to contribute. I want to be a part of it. Why am I going to give up all the fun? What am I going to do? Clip coupons? I don't golf. I don't fish. I'm a Silva instructor. Sometimes it bothers me. It's like that's all I do. But it helps because I devote everything to that. So here's the exercise. 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel some gratitude. And then I'll ask you a question. What would my life, this is you asking yourself, what would my life be like if I were living on purpose? And first I'll ask you, what do I want and why is it important to me? So what do you want? Why is it important to you? And what are the benefits to you and anyone you care about? And as if you've got it already, how does it make you feel? Again, repeat this. I'm just introducing you to it. You know, our exercises are minimum 20 minutes to 30 minutes, sometimes a little bit more in the Silva class. So we really take our time and there's a lot to it. This is meant to be a preview. Remember? So, fasten your seatbelts. Please allow your eyelids to close. Some of you look so comfortable in the chair there. All right, Mary, baby. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Mimi, just double checking. But I love these smiles. Wow. Okay, eyelids closed. Allow a very slow, deep breath. Breathe in peace. Hold it briefly. Slowly exhale. Allow another slow, deep breath. Breathe in peace. A little bit more. Hold it briefly. Exhaling out your mouth. Just let it go. Free yourself of any of the stressors. Allow another slow, deep breath. Hold it. Exhaling out your mouth. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. It's a wonderful, healthy state of mind and body. Now allow yourself a moment to think of someone in your life you're so happy is in your life. And imagine as if you're with them, having some fun, hugging, shaking hands. Or it could be an opportunity that you're blessed to have in your life. Exaggerate the feeling as much as you can. Now imagine you're at that happy place. In Silva, we call it the ideal place of relaxation. How good it feels to progressively relax. Now do your best to follow your very first impression. This is not meant to be a deep thinking exercise. Trust your heart. Trust your inner wisdom. Trust your intuition. And the question is, what do you want? What's your first impression? What do you really, really, really want? What's the first thought that comes to mind? And why is this important to you? This goal, this thing you want. Why is it important to you? How will you benefit? Or how will anybody you care about benefit when you attain this? And how, as if it's happened, imagine this is your best self. How would your life be? What would your life be like when you bring this into your life and you're living it? Today, tomorrow, next month, next year, in the years to come. How will you benefit? How will anybody in your life benefit? And how does this make you feel? You can do this. With the proper training and skill set, you've got this. You will remember. Now, lock it in. And when you're ready, know that when you open your eyelids, you're going to be relaxed, alert, feeling much, much better than before. Awake and alert. Now allow your eyelids to close as you're ready, feeling much, much better than before. Take your time. That was just about 5 minutes, not very long. Ooh, Carly, you got such a beautiful smile. Whoa. And headset on. Geez, like you're beaming there. Holy moly. Eric, just you didn't need to be on video. Some of you are on video because I wanted to get the best possible recording for the replay for you, for others in the future. Did you notice this second 5 minute? Did maybe you relax a little bit more? If you know how to put a heart out, put a heart if you notice you relax a little bit better than you did the first one. Or raise your hand or something like that. Because sometimes when you do these little short exercises, it compounds the results. So just know that. I'm not going to go into the research, but it can compound the results. Little short ones, there's a cumulative value. And you do this during the day, all through the day, before an important task, you'll notice the difference. Please, my friends, I want you to do this. I want to hear from you. It makes a difference. You know, we got to take command of our lives, baby. This is up to you and I. This exercise, by the way, best self exercise, in 2011, there were studies done in Harvard for sure. In 2013, some psychologists did studies. There are about a half a dozen that I'm aware of. I've written down in my office. And they did various studies where they had people do this once a day for 5 minutes every day for 2 weeks. Another one, they did it 15 minutes every day for 5 days. And they had control groups. And regardless if they did it, as long as there was more than a few days, so 2 weeks was the most, people were more optimistic, they felt more joyful, they were more at peace, they slept better, and it lasted even after that period of time. There was a noticeable, and this is psychologists conducting the test. It's called the best self exercise. Google search it. You'll find there's a ton of information about it. I teach this all the time. I've done videos on that. Okay, ready? Let's move on to skill number 3. Again, our mission to take command of our lives. To navigate the chaos in such a way that it doesn't get the best of us. So that we feel more grace, more ease in our lives, more in flow. We make better, wiser decisions. You know, we're sleeping better, better health. So number 3 is, some choose to call them changing limiting beliefs. I would like to emphasize having the confidence that somehow, some way we can figure things out. So tell me, you guys are very cool. I know the answer. I want you to acknowledge this. It makes more of an impression, an imprint on your brain. Have you experienced the horrible, 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 debilitating effect of the disease called self-doubt? Have you noticed? How many of you ever been doubtful about, excuse me, about something and you put it off? You didn't do it. Thank you. I see Jim and Matt, right, guys? I'm self-taught with a lot of technology. And if something gets overwhelming, it's like, oh my God, I put it off. I don't even look at it. I admit, I've got some emails that I haven't looked at for 2 weeks because I'm not ready. Some of it's my schedule too, timing. But then I'll go into my alpha state like you just did, and I'll mentally rehearse it. I'll make believe. What would my life be like if I knew what to do and if I could figure this out and if I have superior concentration? And I use the tools we teach in the class and get through that. So it's very important that we have that. If you read Bruce Lipton's book, The Biology of Belief, how it affects us, our beliefs, there's a lot of social conditioning contributing to this disease called self-doubt. We have family and friends who, you know, my family told me, you could never be a teacher. You're too impatient. I had a bit of a it's coming back, lisp, a very strong lisp, a bit of a, what do you call that, a speech impediment. When I was in first grade, I went to parochial schools, the nuns, they did a lot for me. And they taught me vocal lessons to improve that. And if you listen closely to me, you can still hear my S's sometimes. It depends. And if I'm dry with that, I don't even like to bring it up because then I pay attention to it, and I'm used to it anyway with that. But they loved me. They didn't want me to be disappointed. So who in their right mind wants to be disappointed? Agreed? Michael, would you like a nice, healthy disappointment today? Excuse me. Mary, how about you? Such a beautiful person, Mary. Of course not. Mimi, Jinzia, Eric, Carly, people I can see. Come on, Ken Bettine. Who wants to be disappointed? So can you see how strategically we don't do things because we're afraid that we don't want to be disappointed? I don't know if I could do that. All it means is you got to study. You need some help. You need some training. Read a book. Do a training, whatever it is. The best way to overcome any kind of stage fright or apprehension about what's coming up is practice, 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 and be prepared. When people talk about they're so nervous about some things because they haven't prepared. They haven't done their due diligence. If you do that, it doesn't go away completely. And with this, have a plan. So here's a simple technique. And I want to go right to it because I promise to make this as meaningful as possible. I know you get what I'm saying. Again, if we have more time in our classes, we build Silva, in the immersion, we call it, we build this out. We've got 40 hours to do that. But here, let's cut to the chase. Because I want to do another short exercise. In order to do this, I want you to think right now. Think of a challenge you've had, a situation, a goal. Doesn't matter whether you were doubtful or not, but you did it. And you feel good about it. All right, I nailed that. And did you ever notice when you nail it, it wasn't so tough after all. Things are usually not as bad as we make them in our head. If we were, have you noticed? I used to be CEO of Warriors Anonymous, if there is such a club for that. So think of something that you've actually done. I learned this decades ago from a famous therapist. It's called having evidence to support your contention that I can figure it out. It's like saying, hey, if I've been there before and I did it before, I could do it again. Because we have selective memory. The way the world is, if all we do is watch the news, be careful. I caught myself because I was watching it with my wife so much, and I found myself waking up in the middle of the night having really weird, intense dreams. I had to back off. I'm not usually like that, but there's different things going on, and we're paying attention to it. Be careful. Be selective. I'm not saying not to be aware of what's going on. Be aware, but just manage it. Manage it. Very important with this, because we begin to develop selective memory. Couples go through this. Matt, when I'm alone with your beautiful bride, I'll ask her privately. You can ask Barbara privately, although she's not coming to Atlanta, so tough luck, buddy. You have to call her behind my back. Sometimes we take each other for granted. We have selective memory. We don't remember what brought us together, what we love about the person, what we appreciate. Agreed? It happens to all of us. It's horrible. I agree. But we do it. So this is a skill set. We teach this. We never used it in the early days. In day number 2, life system. So just think of this thing. Challenge. If it's something in the immediate past, I mean, you can go far back as you like, but the sooner, the more recent it is, the easier it would be to relive it. And all I'm going to have you do is remember that challenge, what you did, how you handled it, and how you felt when you succeeded. And the key is, before you go to a new event, before you go to a new task, a new challenge, a new situation, you think of something, even if it's not related to it. If it's similar, that's ideal. But it doesn't have to be. It's how to change your state. In Silva, we don't jump up and down to change our state. We don't need to. I mean, that helps. And physically do stuff, we do it through dynamic meditation. That's our thing, to have that and feel that. So, fasten your seatbelts, allow your eyelids to close. I feel like I'm on steroids, and I'm not, or something. I haven't even had coffee since 10 o'clock this morning. I just want to make this, because you can repeat this on your own easily and take your time. This is real. I'm keeping it real simple so you can build it out. Now allow a very slow, deep breath. And while exhaling, just think relax. Allow another very slow, deep breath. And while exhaling, relax more deeply than before. Allow another very slow, deep breath. Take your time. And again, while exhaling, relax and go deeper. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. Now, allow yourself to feel some genuine, heartfelt gratitude or appreciation for someone in your life or an opportunity. It could even be one of your pets. Take your time. I will wait for you. Excellent. Now, imagine as if you are at your happy place, your ideal place to relax. Mountains, riverbank, in the tub, in a jacuzzi, by the mountains, at the beach. What would you see? What do you hear? Do you smell anything? As if you're there, involve your senses, and how does this make you feel? Feel the calm, the soothing feeling of being at home. How good it feels. Now, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to think of, in the immediate past, a challenge you faced, a task, something that you were concerned about, but you figured it out, you did it, you nailed it. You did it with excellence. So recall as if you're there, the circumstances, the challenge. What did you do? What steps did you take? If you were talking, how are you speaking? If you were standing or sitting, what was your posture like? What did you hear from any people involved? Maybe some feedback, positive feedback from them. If you were speaking, what did your voice sound like? If you were working on the computer or composing a letter. Congratulate yourself, you did it. And know that if you've done it before, you can do it again. You can use these, I call them moments of excellence, times when you've been at your best, to reflect on them in just a few short moments prior to taking on a new task, a new challenge. It's a way to put yourself into a state of hope and optimism and confidence. Now know that when you open your eyelids, you're going to be more awake, more alert, feeling better than before. Take your time, allow your eyelids to open, nice and easy. Welcome back. Some of you look like you're going really deeper and deeper. Let me just check, for those who are on video, make sure they're back. Hey, Annalaw, it's so good to see you, my friend. And Kirsty. And Jan is in the house. Woohoo! Anastasia. Woohoo! I'm singling them out because they happen to be on video, and I just wanted to say hello with this. Don't worry, I'm not using your last name with that. Good job, guys. Excellent, excellent. Almost there. Skill number 4, the best. Use more of your mind and use it in a special manner. That's the whole Silva class. We're a very practical, skills-oriented class. You learn step by step. We spoon feed you from the very beginning, to the end, these skills, using more of your mind. As you know, Jose started with an act of love. His children were doing terrible in school. They didn't want to stay in school. And that's what got the whole ball rolling, looking for a way to help them learn faster and easier. But then they started having psychic experiences when they were in the alpha state. They started anticipating what he was going to say before he said it. First, he thought it was a lucky guess. But then he realized he was onto something of more value, more importance than just improving memory. It's a quick sneak peek. The rest is history. And he spent 22 years, perfecting the system. So one of the skill sets that we are famous for, since day number one, contrary to all the criticism and ridicule that even leading parapsychologists offered in 1966 to Mr. Silva, we've always believed that every human being on this planet has intuition, and it's trainable skill. And today, everybody knows it. It's commonplace. And even in universities and research, you'd be surprised the research going on there. The challenge is it's a slippery slope. How do I know that what I think is my intuition guiding me, I can trust it? Agreed? Can you relate to that? So you need practice, and you need some reference points, so to speak, ways to understand, which is what our forte is with that. But I want to give you an example of this. I'm going to share it anyway, but part of me doesn't want to. I was raised by gamblers, and I lived in Brooklyn, New York, and I never played ball with my dad, but we went to the racetrack together. He took me to the racetrack, just as a kid for that. And I watched grown adults who had a serious disease called gambling, who were very prominent business people, including my father, what he was doing, lose everything eventually. It's very tricky, very tricky. It's a whole different thing. But one of our graduates, who some of you may remember, in fact, I'm not going to use the name because I didn't check if I can use it. We'll call it in short, Allie. She's a frequent. She's a woman who came in hard of hearing. She had to give me a device, and she had a special device in her ear. And with permission, I would hold it, or put it in my pocket so that she could hear me. And she's reviewed with me at least half a dozen times, and her hearing is improving. And she doesn't need that device anymore. And I remember once I said, "Hey, where's the device?" She said, "Oh, I don't need it." This is like the third go around. So she wrote to me, and she says, "Ken, just a silver bonus. Every time I go to the casino, I use my intuition and win hundreds of dollars at the slot machines. I'll send you a pic of me holding the giant check when I hit the jackpot." Ha ha. Laugh out loud. I'm thrilled for her, and I'm not so thrilled because it's really tricky, gambling like that, as you know, so with this. But part of the thing is, Jen, just nod yes or no. I'm not going to mention details, but your son, some of what you share me, can I just share some generally speaking, with this? Because there isn't time to go in detail. It's 4 days of training. In day number 2, we do something called the laboratory and counselors. It's a concept that we use. For some people, it's a deeply moving, profound spiritual experience. For some, it's an exercise in learning how to model and mentally rehearse and learn from excellence. For others, it's like how to tap your subconscious. So, for example, if you're not sure about your goals and there's need for clarity, you can put your subconscious to work while you're sleeping using the glass of water technique or dream control. And we teach it the way it's supposed to be taught. There are people doing videos out there who are not instructors, and they're not teaching it properly. They're kind of overly sensationalizing it, with that. Anyway, I got to remember, Jen and her son, it's Thomas, right? Am I remembering Thomas correctly? Took the class, and Thomas is 14 or 15. Am I remembering correct? Cool kid. But when he came into the class, this was in the winter, I think, in Chicago area, give or take, or maybe spring. I don't remember exactly. But that November, he lost his dad. And it was very traumatic for him. And him and his dad were real close and so on. And when he came in the class, I remember he was the quietest person in the room. You hardly knew he was there. He wasn't interacting at first with anybody. Didn't ask any questions. But he was there. He showed up, and he continued to show up. That's the key. And he did all the exercises. He followed the agreement. He was there, with this, but, wasn't sure. And I started noticing, I don't recall exactly, I work with so many people, but at least by the end of day 2, he started interacting more with people. And I saw him chatting with people on the side where before he wasn't. And there was somebody close to his age, and they became buddies. And I started seeing him smiling more because he was, I think, in a depressed state. And by day 3, at the end of day 2, he did this laboratory and counselors, and he had experience with his deceased dad in the laboratory. That was profound for him. And getting information to help him solve problems on the farm, the tractor and stuff like that with this. Jen has told me some, and actually Thomas didn't tell me, but Mom has been telling me with that. But by the time I got to day 4, I saw a totally different person. He nailed it, with the cases. This is the kinds of things, with people. It's very transformative, with that. And it's just, it's why I do this, because this is what it's about. It's about you and I taking command of our lives and healing. I didn't do anything. I'm just a facilitator. And when people show up and they listen and they pay attention, you will get results. You'll notice that. So I want to give you an example, not just with this, the intuition. One grad wrote me. She says, I pulled into a parking garage, and the woman said, back off, no spaces, everything sold out. She said, but I was 3-fingering. I had this hunch there's a space there for me, so I didn't listen to her, and the woman's flagging her down, but she didn't listen, and she went in. And she went around, and she made a couple of turns, and all of a sudden, there was a spot for her, even though she was told that. Can you relate? Things like this. Now, that's a high level of confidence. But here's the point with that. One of the things I appreciate about Silva, and I think it would benefit, which I promise I would share with you, is it's not an intellectual course. It's not all information. It's not all about, we're going to do this. We do it. We practice. So every step of the way, you're experiencing something. You leave. People. I got an email from somebody who wants me to speak with her group. She said, do you really go to 7 p.m.? I said, yes, 4 days in a row. It is very demanding. But people typically leave feeling better than when they came in. And people, if they're in pain, the pain is diminished, sometimes 100%, but at least 10, 20, 30% easily, because the meditations do that, and we're practicing that. So, frankly, the instructor's doing most of the work, with respect. But here's the point. If you look up peak performance studies, they coined an expression called deliberate practice. In my studies, when I became aware of this, it excited me because this is what we've been doing since day 1. And they find that the most effective way to learn something new, to grow, is when you implement and you apply it to get immediate feedback. Not an hour later, let alone days later, but immediately to get feedback. And that's what's going on in the Silva class all throughout, from the very beginning right up until the end. But when we get to day 3 and 4, we play games with intuition. First thing on day number 3, and you're sitting with the partner, and you each have, I'm not going to go through the details for that. It's simple. But people, almost everybody says, I can't believe I just did what I did. Coming up with information there's no way you could have known. And you're getting, Mimi's nodding with me, and you're getting, as is analog, and you're getting immediate feedback. The value of that is, because sometimes you hear someone say, yes, yes, oh, not so much of that, no, no, oh, yes, yes. So you begin to compare the yeses with the nos, and you start noticing patterns in how you can't read it in a book. No intuitive can teach you this. You've got to experience it. It's a skill set. And when you do it, you can say, you get to a point, I know what I know. When I feel this way, when I think this way, when I have a vision like this, I know I can trust it or I know not to. It's not immediate. It's not a quick fix. I'm not going to kid you. But people, everybody, some people come right up to the last day and they're not sure, because, we guarantee this. My guarantee is, I don't believe in unconditional baloney guarantees. My guarantee is I stand behind this 100%. You get me with this. And I'll make sure do anything and everything I can to make sure you get results. The only thing I ask is you commit yourself to that and you show up and you are here all throughout. Not late, but on time or a little bit early. You do all the exercises, not 2.5 days, 3.5, all 4. And then if it's not for you, okay, at least you gave it a shot. And some people right up to that, they're not sure. And everybody walks out. I never in my wildest imagination thought I could do this, or that she could or he could. And the accuracy, and we do it not once, but 13. You have 13 experiences with myself, sometimes more, where you have immediate feedback, deliberate practice. I cannot overemphasize the importance and the value of that. It's a tremendous confidence builder. And people leave saying, if I could do that, oh my God, the sleeping better at night, piece of cake. Waking up without an alarm clock, which you learn, piece of cake. Mirrored the mind for self-improvement, learning mental rehearsal skills. I've even had my share of Olympic athletes. They didn't perform, but they were like in the B team, which is still pretty darn good with this. There are some major business owners like Bose Corporation. Dr. Armand Bose was a Silva trainer back when I started, not with me, but he did it with my mentor in the Boston area. You'd be surprised how many people, most everybody in this personal development field has been through the Silva class, in the past, because it's a game changer in your thinking. There's a shift for that. It's a confidence builder. But more importantly, today, how do you know you're being told the truth? There are people who are spreading falsehoods. Have you noticed? There are people, and if people keep repeating it, eventually people begin to believe it unless they fact check, and really fact check. It's become really, I think, dangerous, frankly. I'm not talking politics. I'm just talking get to the truth. Be guided by your own inner light in here. So you may not be 100%, but I'll assure you, you'll be more likely to be guided with your own inner wisdom to know who to trust, who not to trust, who to work with, whatever. So this is all a part of it. We also emphasize remote healing or distant healing for that. You get the idea. There's just a lot of things. And one thing I would like to put out there, because I'm hearing a lot, empaths. Some people of you guys maybe are suffering from overcare. I hear this especially from nurses, social workers, people, coaches, people who work with people. They're suffering from overcare. Are you hearing me? Are you one of those people? You got to really be careful. Some people find that when they're with a dear friend, they love them dearly, but this person is very self-absorbed because they're having a tough patch in their life. It's understandable. And you ask them, how you doing? How's it going? Have you got a moment? It's funny you should ask. And they spend 5 minutes telling you about everything. And how do you feel? They don't mean to hurt us, but they walk away because they didn't vent, they dumped. And we walk away. Can you relate? I've had more nurses and people who work with people, doctors. There are a lot of nurses, a lot of therapists taking the training with me these days because these people, they're up to their eyeballs. They can't even handle the workload, all the people. And they need to learn. They're taught this when they get their PhDs. My daughter's a psychologist and her husband. But I'd like to go to one of those schools and offer, because there are things you can do that I teach people in the class of how to keep it out there, so that you can care, but without getting sucked into the drama. Just because somebody's creating a drama doesn't mean you have to attend it. You don't need to let them have space in your head for free, with respect to that. It's not easy, I agree, but it can be done. And I've had more of these nurses and therapists and counselors come back and say, I come home and instead of being, I'm out of it, I still need a rest, but I've got more energy to have a good meal time with my family or my children, with that. I hope this is making sense to you, but as I promised, I think the world of this. I wouldn't do this. I'm disciplined in so many different modalities. I've gone to them, and I keep coming back to Silva. We may not be, in some people's eyes, the coolest because we don't do a lot of fancy advertising. But even when you pay the fee is $2,000. But when you pay in advance and you commit to the whole thing, you save a little over $500. It's $1,497, call it $1,500. But you pay once, only once. And if you go to silvamethodct.com, go to the schedule page, you get all the details, with respect to that. And then you can come back and pay only a seat charge. And you want to come back because it's like reading a good book. Every time you do, you get more out of it because you're different, you're thinking different, you're expanding your awareness. And what I want to leave with, and we'll take a few minutes for Q&A if you have any. I'm doing my best here. But I get so worked up and so excited. It's like Matt. You ever watch him? When we talk about Silva, I can't shut him up and he can't shut me up. Went through that with Amy today. It's supposed to be a quick 5-minute call. We were on for an hour. Because Amy Schneider's in Atlanta, teaching there. But the point I wanted to say is you do need to practice. Once a day is good, twice is even better. And we teach you things that you'd want to do anyway. 5 minutes, 10, 15. And you do that, even just that little bit, there's a noticeable, appreciable difference, slowly but surely. And most importantly, you become part of a community that has your back. And something that Silva organization, I'm very proud to say, is known for, we pay more attention to you, frankly, after you go through the training and offer support. Because I don't care who you study with, from the best of the best, if you don't get support, you're screwed. Because by default, it's easier, the way the brain's wired, to slip back into old patterns. So you're very intelligent. You're smart. You didn't do anything wrong. It's, in a sense, not your fault. You've invested maybe in self-improvement. You read all these books. But unless you have support in your system and you're surrounded by people who encourage you, it's too easy to slip back into old patterns for a lot of reasons, like a social hypnosis. So you can go as far with this as you like. And some of the bonus on my website, I'm going to flash up my old school thing. So it's intimate, the setting. Everyone's a VIP. You like this, Michael? This is my high tech for that. You get 2 complete manuals. Everything's important. You don't even have to take notes in the class. Occasionally I'll say, hey, it's not in the manual because I upgrade all the time. You have a lifetime of review privileges. You get a 30-minute coach call with me, one-on-one with me for free, complimentary, after the fact, to make sure you got it. You have any questions? Then I do a 90-minute group coaching call. We call it a reunion within the month, sometimes 2 months of the class, and go over key points, exercises. Then I send you downloads, again, compliments, a review. One of them is an MP3. The MP3 is, I got to remember, I think that one's 60 minutes. And it's me reviewing Life and Intuition System, how to apply it. So you're not going to find it on the internet. You're not going to find it on YouTube. I only send it to people who've completed the training with me. Then you get, another week or so later, an MP4, a video called Back to Basics that you can review and expand. These are things anytime. Then you're eligible to participate in the community. And there's only 2 official graduate programs. One's called Silva Mastery. That's my baby. And the other is called the Ultra Seminar on Healing that we do. Mastery I do at least once a year. I'm going to be end of this month with Amy. But you also, the guarantee I mentioned, you have access to me. But also, I set a goal to have at least a couple of graduate practice groups. And we used to call them cottage groups. Now we have one every day of the week. And some days there are 2. I think one day there's even 3 groups. And you can participate in all of them for free or one. It's only available to people who have gone through the training. It's people in my community and my fellow instructors. Some of them are on this, and I hope you're doing the same thing, so that you get support. And then you're practicing with like-minded people, sharing examples, helping each other out. It's a very active engage. You can do as much as you want. But the point is you get support, and all that's part of the package. All that you get. No extra upsells, no extra, charges, and so on. No hidden charges. It's really that simple. So if you're resonating with this and you have yet to attend, I'd love to have you. I'll be honored to have you in the class with me. And I know my fellow instructors will be honored. You can find them on silvamethod.com. I don't have everybody's schedule. I'm doing one here, my anniversary, 54 years, baby, Memorial Day weekend. It's already been, for months, it's been filling up. I have no idea how many people registered. I'm not looking. I'll have to wait to make sure I have enough supplies. and then one in July, end of July, in Illinois. So every so many months, I repeat, the schedule, and then have a newsletter I publish every week, Sundays, weekly immersion for that. So I think I covered all the bases. I hope I did. Didn't leave anything out with this. I love doing this, and I hope you find your way with Silva. It may not be for everybody, but like I said, more than 10 million people across the globe have found it to be such immense value with this, and I'm sure you can too. So I know it's just 8:30, but if there are questions, I promise that I want to honor the time and honor yours. And if there are, you can unmute yourself, but say your name. You just say your first name if you want, and your question, because I don't have you on my screen on the video, so I'm not able to see. Although you're on video, I'm looking. It's a Carly. I see. Are you clapping, Carly, or is that a question? Oh, she's clapping. I'm sorry. I don't know the difference. Thank you. I do the virtual, and I've done them. I just did one in January. I am not going to do another one this year. And the virtuals come pretty close. They do. But I'm going to tell you, it's like magic in person. The energy in the room with like-minded people, and that adds to it. You're surrounded by people thinking like that, sharing. It's all of us. It's like a high. It's palpable in the room for that. And I know it's an investment. You may have to travel. The hotels we use, they're not fancy schmancy. They're nice. They're clean. They offer breakfast included. One of them in Farmington puts out wine and cheese in the afternoon. You have to wait till we're done. They put a charcuterie. Am I saying it right? For that. They put chocolate chip cookies out for us. And I'm working on the Chicago one to do the same. They now have coffee out all day. And they're small. There's one meeting room, and that's our group. So the whole atmosphere is small, friendly, warm, and intimate. Even though I'm from Brooklyn, New York, I like that. I think that really adds to the transformative value. So I'm looking here, just making sure. Okay, so we're good. And by the way, you can always email me with the question too for that. So remember, Silva Method, CT. That's the abbreviation for Connecticut.com. You'll find everything you need to know. Go on the schedule page. There's lots of videos on the blog page. And till the next time. So my friends, thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time. Most everybody who is here live and in person stayed, which is a good sign. So I'm going to sign off and close us out for now.